970 WGTK gives you Let's Talk with Dr. Stan Frager. From relationship problems to family feuds, he's got all the advice and expert help you'll need. Dr. Frager is here ready to lend an ear or a shoulder if you need it. Now, here's Dr. Stan Frager.
Hi, welcome. Always nice to have you with us. I'm psychologist Dr. Stan Frager, and every Sunday night we get together from 8 until the 10 o'clock hour. It's a very special time, and have some special guests joining us tonight. If you're out there driving, I'll certainly keep you company along the way. And if you're at home, just snuggle up and we'll listen, and you talk and I'll talk, and we'll share ideas. But we get together to do that, and tonight, if you have children, if you have grandchildren, if you have your neighbor's kids, we'll give you lots of good help. We're going to talk about children tonight, and I have some wonderful people joining our Sunday night family. With us tonight is my colleague, Ms. Susan Rose, and Dr. Rose has a doctorate in counseling psychology, and her professional experience includes over 20 years of working in schools as both a teacher and counselor, resolving conflicts that are related to behavioral issues, emotional, social, and school-related issues. She's also at the University of the Cumberlands as a professor, where she directs the school counseling program within their School of Education for teachers pursuing their master's degree in counseling. And she's my colleague at Frager Associates and sees patients there, and it's great to have you with us, Dr. Rose.
Thank you.
All right. How about a little bit about as a counseling psychologist and school psychologist, well, what does a therapist do? What does a school counselor do? I used to think of a school counselor as doing counseling, but a lot of it is guidance stuff and discipline things, isn't it? What is it?
These days, it's quite a luxury for school counselors to actually be able to do mental health. The large percentage of their day is spent doing some discipline, because here, especially here in Kentucky and the local schools in Jefferson County, most of the elementary schools don't have assistant principals, and so the counselor is kind of thrown into that role. And so they do the discipline and kind of walk that fine line between discipline and preventive counseling.
Kind of hard to be both, isn't it?
It is. But as counselors, we kind of put on that mom hat, and sometimes as a school counselor, and as mom, we sometimes have to discipline, but then we also have to be the caretaker and the kiss it and make it better kind of person.
But that's kind of like what a parent does. I mean, we have to be the disciplinarian. And that's the role that a lot of parents have trouble with. And I'm thinking 50% of all divorces, of all marriages, end up in divorce. And I know that when they have children, like on the weekend, say dad gets the kids every weekend. Well, he doesn't want to be the firm disciplinarian. He wants to have a nice time with the children because he gets to see them a limited amount.
Absolutely.
So you have that problem of wanting to be kind and supportive, and yet trying to set boundaries.
Yes.
Right. And that's a large percentage of the problems that happen in schools, because the kids want lines drawn. Several years ago, about 20 years ago, they actually did a study where they took the fences down off of a school, and kids then began to get closer and closer to the school because they didn't know how far they could go without those fences. They just felt unsafe. And so kids want that line drawn, and when parents don't draw it, then that's when the discipline problems begin.
Literally didn't know what the boundaries were.
Literally.
That's very interesting. I wasn't familiar with that particular study, so that's very interesting.
And they do need the consistency. You're right, and that is often absent and very hard to provide when two parents are not communicating at all sometimes, and at times not in a way that is constructive.
No, in fact, one of the things I always caution parents who are going through a divorce, and what I caution them about is that what you don't want to do is badmouth your partner to the children, because later on in life, they won't even remember what you said. They'll just remember, Dad sure said a lot of mean things about Mom, or Mom sure said a lot of mean things about Dad. In fact, grandparents get into that. They'll whichever sibling is theirs, the husband or wife, it's kind of like they want to paint the other one as being hard on the children, and really not a good thing, is it?
Right. Well, and then you train the children to play one parent against the other parent, and you can't fault the child for that. We all want what we want, and if that's a way to get it, then children will go that route. And so you're kind of setting them up